You know, when we look at the situation that went down with this dude's mom and the home invasion, there's a couple of things that we have to set in order. It's not a time to laugh at a man. It's not a time to take personal shots because we're dealing with serious issues here. Hassan Campbell, you clowning this dude because of a home invasion. Talking about where was the security for his mom. Don't you know that can happen to you? It's not nothing to be laughing at, bro. It's not nothing to be sensationalizing like it's a game because you might get caught slipping. And I don't wish that on your fam. What I'm trying to do is speak some sense into you. I get it. Social media, you know, celebrity gossip, all that other stuff. But we're talking about somebody's mom. You're saying that Tekashi was out live streaming and these gunmen came into the crib, but the security was with Tekashi. Where was the security for Mom Duke? Same thing can happen to you, fam. You could be out and about, going out to buy a Pele Pele jacket. You know those jackets that you be wearing? Yeah, those are some fly jackets, dog. You could be out shopping. Your fam could be in the crib, and next minute, things go left. Where's your security? See, these are not the type of stuff to be laughing at, making jokes about, or trying to throw shade like, well, because of all the money he got, he supposed to have X, Y, and Z. First of all, nobody should even be running up in nobody's crib, even doing anything to anybody's mom. So that was out of pocket on them dudes. But let's not make fun of the situation. There's a time to talk ish on social media, make videos, entertain your viewers. But when it deals with somebody's mom, that's when we gotta now fall back and say, all right, I may not agree with 6ix9ine about this. I may not agree with that. Maybe you had some words because I know you have some history with 6ix9ine. You know, people said some ish about you. I get all of that, but we're talking about somebody's mother. And you gotta look at your own personal situations. Remember when you went out there to, what was that project where you came from? Something River, something. I forgot the exact project. When you went out there, I'm not sure if it's Bronx River, I'm not sure. When you went out there, the hood didn't show you no love. The hood threw bottles at you, dog. You have to remember those days. So the same way you went out there and the hood knew that you was live at Bronx River, it could have been the same day. They could have went and pulled up on your family and held them at gunpoint. You see what I mean? So it's nothing to laugh at, right? You could do your thing. Shall we begin? Shall we begin? You could do your thing. But let's just keep it a buck, bro. Situations like that can happen to anybody. And the whole thing is, we could talk all that security stuff all we want. But to be honest, when things pop off, nobody is never really prepared. Biggie wasn't prepared. Tupac wasn't prepared. Think about that. Tupac was with 6ix9ine. You gonna tell me the security wasn't there? He wasn't prepared to die. So to say where was the security for his mama, You're throwing low blows at this man when he's down. You know, how would you feel if that was your mama? You would be furious right now. You'll be ready to crash out. The same way you went to Bronx River, if something happened to anybody in your fam that's real close to you, you'll be ready to crash out on somebody. So all I'm saying, dog, is this. Be mindful of what you say, because you might fall in a situation just like that. And I don't wish that on you by any means necessary. All I'm saying is, when situations like that happen, it's not a time to throw shots. It's not a time to say, well, what he should have had, or, you know, he should have had security. Nah. For all you know, security could have been there. And even if security wasn't there, that's not a time to throw shots. If anything, thank God that nobody harmed his mom. That's what you should be saying. Thank God nobody harmed his mom. It's unfortunate. It's a crazy situation. I don't wish that on nobody. You know, home invasions are real. These type of things happen. All I'm saying, man, be careful what you say on social media, man, because if you get in a situation like that, God forbid, you got in a situation like that, where you're out doing business, your fam is home, some gunmen run up in the crib, how you gonna take that? What are you gonna say? What's gonna be your excuse? You know what people gonna do? They're gonna bring up the video of you basically taking shots at 6ix9ine. And they're gonna say, remember when you said this? And nobody's gonna care about your situation. Nobody's gonna care. And it's one of them things where it's like, what would you do if that was you? What would you do if that was your situation? You wouldn't want to see nobody on social media making light of the situation because it involves your mom. It's a serious issue. It's not like it was a home invasion and nobody's home. They took some jewelry or whatever the case is. It involves your mom. So when we look at this man's situation, we got to look at that as that's our mom. That's how we got to look at this thing. Even if you got issues with him or whatever, I would not want to see nobody's mama get harmed. That's real talk. So when you come on these cameras, man, I get it. You talking about the story. You got to do your job. But don't take shots, man. Don't say he's a sucker or he's a diss or he looks stupid because he don't got security protecting his mom. Like that. None of that is needed right now, bro. Because I'm telling you, bro, if you ever fall in a situation like that, they're not going to show you no mercy, man. They're not going to show you no mercy. They're going to bring back up those tapes and they're going to see how you spoke about that man's mama, and they're not going to show you no love. You know? They're not going to show you no love. It's very, very important that we watch our words, especially in times like this where people are having home invasions. And, you know, people can laugh. People can do all of that stuff, man. I've learned a long time ago. The people that laugh now are going to be the people that are going to be crying later. It don't make no sense to be laughing because those that laugh, your mama might end up getting unalive tonight. And then you're going to remember your laughter. It's not going to be so funny when you're at that funeral. Or something may happen to a loved one of yours because you thought it was funny. Next minute, they got robbed at gunpoint and possibly shot. So it's never a good idea to laugh at somebody's unfortunate situation, you know? Because when these These men go to burglarize a house. You know, if they wanted, they could have unalived his mom. They could have did harm to her. That's what we got to look at. If these are 4 gunmen, they could have literally harmed his mom. It's not a laughing matter. You know, it's very, very serious. Shout out to Citizen of Humanity. Shout out to you. Yeah, I know about the name change already. Shout out to you for the support. Says salute. Middle finger to you trolls. Yeah, I just ignore the trolls. The trolls are just they helping me. They busy just there wasting their life away. I'm busy talking about the story. I've learned when I do these live streams, don't even look at the chat. Don't even focus on it. Just do the content and share your thoughts, because the trolls want you to read their comments and have this little back and forth. We're not doing that no more. So I want this message to reach Hassan, because I know you're going to watch the video. Be mindful about what you say about that man when it involves this situation, because it could happen to you. It can happen to you, dog. Remember, people know who you are. You got to be in these streets. I'm pretty sure some of your ops know where you live. Your neighbors know who you are. It's going to be very easy. So, if anything, during a time like this, it is best to just put out some good energy and not fan the flame. Even if you have bad blood with this dude or whatever, you put that to the side and you focus on what's important, you know, his mama. Because his mama have no involvement with none of the drama. None of our moms, if we have a disagreement or we beefing, our mamas have nothing to do with what's going on. So we supposed to show respect. You know, my mama ain't here. She died. She died of cancer. But when I hear these type of stories which involve his mom, that stuff pisses me off. And I kind of tuned into your video, and I was expecting you to say something, you know, because you're cut from that era where you're supposed to know better, you know. But I was kind of surprised that you was like, you know, the dude should have had security and he's this, and like you're making a joke out of it, like he was supposed to have security. I mean, do you have security? Do you have security at your door? I'm sure you don't. And it has nothing to do with how much money you got. Just by the pure fact, whether you believe it or not, you're a celebrity, dude. You're a celebrity. So people know who you are. You can't even disguise yourself when you're in the streets. When you walk in the streets, people gonna know who you are. So it has nothing to do with how much money. Yeah, dude got millions of dollars, I get it. But you're no different. You may not have his money, but you're popular. People know who you are. So you just can't go to your local Walmart and just walk and go shop. Somebody is gonna recognize you and be like, yo, that's so-and-so. You know? And you gotta be ready at all times. It's unfortunate that his mom was there and, you know, she had to go through that. If anything, like I said, just put out a positive word, a positive vibe. You know, I get it. You got to do your videos, you know, for the algorithm. People want to hear some drama. But you got to be careful, man. You got to be careful with that, man. Remember, we're talking about Mom Duke. Always remember that. Mom Duke. Now, I don't know how was your relationship with your mom. I don't know. If you got love for your mama, you're supposed to have love for everybody, mama. Those are just the rules. Some of us, we had bad relationships with our folks. Some people resent their parents. But regardless what type of lifestyle that dude lived, regardless what kind of beef he got, nobody should be putting his mom in that type of situation. Nobody. If you came there to get some jewels, if you came there for money, get the money and be out. Nobody ain't trying to catch nobody. And now they got video, they got evidence. That's crazy. You said what? You said Tekashi care less about the next man's mama. If that's your mentality, then what you're basically saying is that you're assuming that's how he feels, so you don't care. You could continue and think like that, that's your right, but just don't cry when nobody cares. Like if something happened in your fam and somebody get unalived or whatever, and you see nobody don't care, always remember your words. You know, you're gonna eat them words. Like I said, if I got issues with somebody, that's between me and that person. When you start involving the women and the children, you know, it crosses a whole nother line. So if there's anything people need to be talking about, is that, you know what I mean, she good, she's safe, and, you know, if anything, Tekashi got to know who his ops are and understand how are they able to just know where to go. So it could be a situation of an inside job, meaning that somebody that's close to him may have gave the drop or whatever the case is, because for them to just walk up in there and just do what they want, it could be somebody that know what's happening, you know? You can't trust these people. I'm just trying to make sense out of a bad situation, you know? Put no ones, I'm just ending the show, because I mean it pretty much done. If nobody's gonna put a 1, I'm just gonna end the show, guys. You guys have to learn how to participate, man. So we back. Okay, so getting back to the story, let me see if I can move to another location, man. Hold on. Move over here. All right. Yeah. So, getting back to the topic, guys. Hold on. Okay. What I'm talking about here is a situation where Hassan was basically saying that people gonna be laughing at Tekashi because of the situation. Like, he was supposed to have all the security and all this other stuff. Nah, this situation is deeper than that. Because if these 4 gunmen was able to pull up, that mean they knew nobody was at the house. That mean it was an inside job. That mean whoever set this up is also a part of Tekashi's entourage. I'm looking at this thing for what it really is. Because if he was out streaming and they were able to pull up at the crib to do what they did, it's an inside job. It's an inside job, man. So now he gonna have to know who his team is, because I wouldn't trust nobody at that point. It was an inside job, guys. The people that rock with him lined them up. And this is what happens when you got a lot of bread. You got to really know who's around you, man. The best thing he can do at this point is move from that area. Once you have a home invasion like that, either you get the security stepped up or it's time to move. Or, you know, you got to do something because they know where you are. And if they weren't caught, they know where you are. You know what I mean? So you don't want to live and be tormented with fear of, well, what if they come back? And what if I got to go do some business and my mom is home? And what do I do? You know? So the way I'm looking at it is, it was an inside job. Somebody from Tekashi's team set him up to probably try to scare him, probably to get some bread, whatever, some jealousy. And, you know, his mom got caught up. But I'm saying, like, for somebody to line you up and know your mom is there, that mean they don't care about you, bro. All I'm saying, Hassan, man, be careful, man. Be careful what you say, dog, because, again, you may not have Tekashi's money, but you're still a celebrity on social media. And if your ops really want to make an example, they know how to hurt you. What you're supposed to be saying is, this can happen to any of us. You can have ops and they don't like you, and you could be out doing business and they decide to go mess with your family in order to piss you off. That's what happens, man. You know? I mean, you can upgrade your security, but it's not that simple. Remember, we're talking about security, man. These has to be people you could trust. Security is not something you just hire. These got to be people that, these people will literally sacrifice their own life to protect you. You may end up hiring your ops and don't even know. You know? The first thing he got to do is get to the bottom of this whole situation was calculated. While he out streaming, they plotting on invading his home. So it's almost like they already knew he was leaving the house. How did they know? It was an inside job. You know? It was an inside job, man. And you know how it is. A lot of times, it be the people that is closest to us that be our ops, and we don't even know. Y'all know what I'm talking about. If you go look in your life, all the people that betrayed you was close to you. They were close to you. They were your friends, your family members. It was the people that were right near you. Those were your ops. Those were the people that turned against you. It wasn't some distant, far person somewhere. Nah, it was the people that knew where you were, where you hang at, where you rest your head at, where you shop. They know everything about you. You know? You said, or 6ix9ine himself set it up to keep his name in the limelight. If he did that, he would have to be sick. Anybody that would reenact or set up a skit of their home being burglarized with their mom in danger, that person is sick. You would have to be sick to do that, man. But then again, these people will do anything on social media. They'll do anything for clicks and views, man. Some of these people will do that. So you may have a point. You may have a point because it was too easy. Like I said, when I initially saw the video, I thought it was fake. When I saw it, I thought it was fake. I was like, this is a skit. Somebody did this. This is AI. I don't think this is real. And I'm, searching. It's all over the place. I'm like, oh, so it is real. So it could be an inside job. It could be something he put together. But again, who would do that? If that man made this up with his mom, that would mean that his mom is in on it too. And I don't want to believe that. I just don't want to believe that. But in this day, people are sick, man. People will do anything for clicks and views. You know? You said, but we already know he got something wrong with him. I don't know that. I don't monitor people that much to know what they got wrong with them. You know, the same could be said about you. There could be people that's watching you and they're saying, well, there's something wrong with her, you know? So we really can't judge because of what we see on the outside, you know? We don't know that man personally. What you know is his external publicity type. That's all you know. You don't know him personally. You know, a lot of times we see people on social media and we think we know them. You haven't been around them in the real world to know what they really like, you know? So guys, I'm gonna pretty much get up on out of here. I just wanted to talk a little bit. I hope that Hassan is able to listen and be a little more respectful about the situation. You could go off on, here's the thing. You could go off on 6ix9ine all day, do your content. That's you. At the same time, when it comes to the mom, we got to know what to say at the moment so that the listener can walk away and they'll respect you more and be like, you know what? I like your videos. I get it. At the same time, I appreciate the fact that you kept everything respectful about the mom. And you might still have your beef with 6ix9ine or whoever. That's cool. But don't throw the shots about, oh, why you ain't have security for your mom, because you might be in a situation like that, man. I could be in a situation where I got to go do a run real quick, and you might have an op that might figure, oh, he can probably try to do something real quick. You know what I mean? So there's no guarantees, man. There's no guarantees. You ain't going to be around your fam 24/7. There's going to be days where you're going to be out and about. And you might be streaming in the street, and they might be like, oh, he live. He over at such and such. Let's go to the crib. You know? So you don't want to say stuff like that, man. Don't clown the man because he ain't have security for his mom at that moment. It ain't that serious, dog, where you got to have security all day. Listen, fam, if I got to live with my family and have armed security around them all damn day, bro, that's a miserable existence. To be living like that, where I am constantly worried about something happening, that's not living life, bro. It don't make no sense to have millions of dollars and I got to be leaving my house with security and everything every day because I'm fearing that somebody's going to try to take my family out. That's crazy. That's a horrible way to live. Shout out to Citizen of Humanity for the $5 support. Says everyone in life has a chapter they don't want to read aloud. Let me see. So let me see. Somebody said Hassan is a clown for real. When the elderly lady got unalive, he said grandma got her TV turned off. So disrespectful. See, it's stuff like that that I don't rock with stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like, and again, you know, he do his content his way, and he's going to do his content his way. All I'm saying is the same energy that you give that dude about his mom and security, don't let a situation come up where you are out and about doing business. And again, most high forbid, I don't want nothing to happen for you, to your family, dog. What I'm saying is be careful with your words, man, because nobody is exempt from the wiles of the devil, bro. You can have people that don't like you and they've been plotting. You can have old friends that know your location, know this, know that. I got enemies. I got ops. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, you got to keep your eyes open at all times. Be thankful that his mom is good, and you know, but let's not clown him and say, yo, man, you a sucker, man. You dumb, bro. You ain't have no security for your mom. Bro, that's crazy, bro. You got all this money. Where the security for your mom, bro? Security was there. The security camera. Security was there. The camera's there. And the camera got everything on tape. And that's enough so that they can find out who's who. And I'm pretty sure 6ix9ine gonna know who they are. Like I said, this is not gonna end well for those guys. It's not. You said his mom passed away. You said Hassan's mom passed away. And he felt pissed when his ops was disrespectful about her. But see, this is what I'm saying. They did the same thing to me. Some of my ops disrespected my mom, and she passed away of cancer. This is how people are. They're cruel. But what I'm saying is, don't be callous like them. You know what I mean? If they disrespected your mom, it doesn't mean you do the same back. You know what I mean? Have integrity. Have integrity and have respect. I have ops that disrespected my mom, and she dead. Some people are heartless. They don't care. They'll do anything if they feel it can hurt you. That's how people are. You know? But they'll get theirs. Yeah, anyone that disrespects somebody's mom is a coward, of course. Major coward. So I'm gonna get up on out of here, guys. I'll be back later on with more content. I just want to share my thoughts about this. I think that Hassan is wrong for trying to clown 6ix9ine about not having security. I think any of us can be in a situation like that, right? So that's about it, guys. I'm gonna get on out of here. So y'all take care, peace and blessings. We'll be back later on with more, right? So I'm out.